Okay, Ariel, we start?
Yeah.
Great. So welcome everybody and happy Hanukkah. We're in our second webinar of joint webinar of Mishkan and Belong, and we're going to have a quick agenda, which is a few minutes on Belong, what we do. Then I'll hand over to Ariel to talk about a few things to know about before you buy a property in Israel, and then he'll take us through a full breakdown of some sample transaction of buying a house, and then we'll open it to Q&A. You're welcome to submit your questions on the Q&A dashboard in the Zoom. So again, welcome and happy Hanukkah. The first few minutes we'll just talk about Belong and who are we. And Belong is a private company, a private initiative that is simplifying your way to Israel. So we're an independent, private Zionist company. We believe that really every Jew should claim his right to shape Israel. We believe that Israel is not only ours, it's of every Jew around the world, and it's yours as well. And that's why we want you to be a part of our community, a part of our society. It starts by connecting, by investing and coming for short trips, and it ends by making Aliyah and becoming an Israeli. What we do. So Belong, first of all, promotes Aliyah. We go and spread the word that really coming to Israel is an opportunity. We want you all to take this opportunity that is open to you and come to Israel, experience Israel, and at the end step, come and make Aliyah and be a part of the Ole. Belong supports the Olim that comes to Israel on their first few steps in here to make sure that the journey is as simple as it can. We know that making an Aliyah and making the move, doing immigration is not an easy move, but we want to simplify it as much as we can. What is Experience Israel? You can experience Israel in many ways. You can come here for a short stay, you can make a trip, you can volunteer, do an internship, do tours that are not just sightseeing, but actually understanding what is being an Israeli and what is the Israeli society combined of investment. A part of it is buying a house, for example, in Israel, and doing other investments in companies and startups. We're not just the startup nation for nothing. So many people come here and looking for a way to connect and have a kind of a part in Israel, even though they're not living here. What we've done so far, we've created a network of service providers. Everything that you need in order to make your move as smooth as possible. So we have a list of tens of companies that are giving special benefits to new Olim that comes to Israel just because they're Olim. They're giving special discounts and also welcoming Olim in understanding their culture, understanding the culture gaps between being Israeli and where you come from. So they can serve you in your language, whether it's English, Spanish, French, or whatever, and understand that they're doing it as a part of Zionism. It means they really want to invest and make sure that we're enhancing our community with more people that come from abroad. For those who need special attention, we're also providing a concierge service that really takes them hand in hand through all the bureaucratic things that they need to pass through while they're immigrating to Israel. Whether it's from going to the Misrad Apnim, the Ministry of Interior, and opening a bank account, helping them to find a job, find a house, and everything, or 360 degrees of what is it to live in Israel or to live everywhere. You can see that the list of things that we are dealing with is really every aspect of living in Israel. Communities is one of the most important thing, and one thing that we can't explain to people that haven't been in Israel is what is the importance of community. We have this thing in Israel that everybody helps everybody. We're one big family, and that's the way we see it. We're one tribe that comes together, and we support each other. And the mutual support that we have for each other comes from within. It's embedded in our DNA. So being a part of a community, being a part of a group that can be a group of local people, it can be a group of Olim. And what we're trying to do, we're trying to blend, trying to make sure that Olim will not just stay with their teams of Olim, but they'll work together and engage with Israelis that can support them, not just by telling them, you're not alone in this journey, but also will help them with any step they need to know, any question that they have, in order to make their life easier. We're creating activities, we're creating tours together, we're inviting people to events that we generate for the Olim, giving them special discounts and making sure that those events can blend them into the community way better. Information. If there's one thing that I would like you to take away from this session is the amazing website that we've built. Website belong.co.il that really has all the information that an Ole needs when he comes to Israel, an Ole or an investor that comes to Israel, which is a kind of a directory that tells him where to go. We are not providing all the services, but what we can do is tell you who to reach out to, who can support you in whatever thing you'll need, whether it's how to buy a house, for example, then we have our great partners in Mishkan, or to find a job, or to send your kid to school or to the kindergarten, and renting a car, buying a car, or driving the public transportation. Everything is there, from health insurance to banking and whatever. 360 degrees of living in Israel. From belong.co.il, you can also contact us through WhatsApp, email, and join our social medias on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're all over. So Belong also provides some tools that are kind of a project planner for your Aliyah journey that you can find on our website, and think of how to do stuff, how to go to the shuk, how to go to the market and buy things, what to ask, and again, everything. And you'll find many short videos on our website, and many directions to other inspirational and practical guides on how to move to Israel. Advanced tools, I told you it's a part of our what we call the personal area on our site, where you log in, you put in your details, and it tailors a project for you depending on your age, on your status, your Aliyah status, which varies from one to the other, and also from the structure of your family, if you come with kids, if you come alone, etc. So this is something which is really personalized for your needs. Just to summarize, so Belong really gives you ways to experience Israel, gives you guidance and support, builds community that hopefully you can be a part of, gives a lot of information how to, mainly on our website, belong.co.il, and on our channels, if it's WhatsApp or calls or emails through the Belong customer service. We give advanced tools to support you with your Aliyah journey. And of course, we give a directory of service providers who we trust that can give you the best service. So this is something like 9 minutes about what is Belong. And I'm proud to hand over to Ariel from Mishkan that will talk about property and buying a house in Israel. Thank you and happy Hanukkah.
Thank you, Elon. So hello, everyone, and thank you again for joining us today. My name is Ariel Friedman. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Mishkan Israel. I'm a real estate attorney with 17 years of experience and the owner of a law firm specializing in real estate, with a strong focus on guiding foreign residents through property transactions in Israel. So before I begin, I'd like to take a moment to say thank you to Elon and the team from Belong for the wonderful and incredibly important work that you are doing. Your dedication to supporting Jewish communities and the individuals who are, considering their connection to Israel is truly meaningful, and we're grateful for the opportunity to collaborate with you. Okay, so this session is designed to provide clear and practical insights for foreign residents that are considering the purchase of real estate in Israel. Okay, so key things to know about buying property in Israel. So before we're getting into the breakdown of specific opportunity, it's important to understand how the process works in practice. Okay, we have put together a few examples of key topics and concepts that are often surprise foreign buyers, and if not understood early, can create confusion later on. So knowing these details upfront helps you ask the right questions, set the right expectations, and make better decisions. So let's dive in. So first, remote purchase. This is usually the first concern foreign buyers have. So you do not need to be physically in Israel to buy property here. The purchase can be completed by appointing an Israeli lawyer through a notarized power of attorney with apostille, or by signing at an Israeli consulate. This is a standard legal and very common process. Also, there has been a recent and highly significant legal development in this area. For those of you who hold Israeli citizenship, the Israeli Bar Association Ethics Committee has issued a new directive, which basically represents a true legal breakthrough. Okay, the directive allows remote identity verification and document authentication via live video conference using the official Israeli government digital identification system. Okay, this enables the signing of power of attorney and other transaction-related legal documents without physical presence, without the need for notarization or apostille, and without having to travel to an Israeli consulate to sign. Okay, this will save a lot of effort. So we are actually among the first firms to adopt and implement this process, significantly simplifying and accelerating transactions for those holding an Israeli citizenship and living abroad. Okay, room count in Israel. So this point is a bit technical, but causes sometimes a lot of confusion. So in Israel, the living room counts as a room. Okay, when we say a 5-room apartment, it means 4 bedroom plus a living room. It's important to understand this when we're comparing properties internationally. Delivery standard from the developer. So setting the right expectations is critical. New apartments in Israel are delivered, completely empty, meaning infrastructure, flooring, some basic sanitary fixtures, and typically do not include closets in the room, any electric appliances, shower enclosures, curtains, and all of a lot of other things that in other countries, in the US for sure, are used to. So please take that in mind when you're considering your purchase. You will need to buy all of these things separately. Technical specifications and upgrades. So most of the projects are being sold with a standard technical specification. Buyer can usually upgrade the finishes, flooring, kitchen, electrical points, and more. The flexibility of what you can change depends on the construction stage, where buying earlier means more options. Please note that the costs and the timelines for these changes must be managed carefully, both commercially and legally. Floor premiums. Obviously, not all floors are priced the same. In multi-story buildings, there is a price premium per floor. Typically, you can take under consideration something between 20,000 to 50,000 shekels per floor, depending on the project, of course, and it's influenced by views, the location of the apartment, the building type, etc. Legal protection, the sale law. So in Israel, we have a law that protects buyers. This is one of Israel's strongest buyers protections. So the Israeli law provides specific protection for apartment buyers. And according to the law, every payment must be secured by a bank guarantee, insurance policy, or registered lien. We put focus on projects that have a bank guarantee. That's the highest level of guarantee that you can get. And the goal is simple, to ensure that your money is protected even if the developer encounters difficulties. We'll move on to the next slide, how payments are made. So let's talk about how money actually moves in these transactions. When buying an apartment from a developer, the payments are not made directly to the developer's company or personal account, of course. They are made using what we call a payment booklet, okay, which is similar in concept to a checkbook. You receive it once you sign, or the person who signed on your behalf. And paying in this way ensures that all payments are deposited directly into the project secured closed bank account that is supervised by the financing bank. Okay, this point is absolutely critical. It is essential that payments are made only through the official payment booklet. Only payments made in this manner entitle the buyer to receive a sale law bank guarantee. Okay, so any payments made outside of this framework may not be protected under the Israeli law. This is why legal supervision over the payment mechanism is just as important as reviewing the contract itself. Bank guarantees, having said that, bank guarantees and state protection. So again, this is one of the strongest protection mechanisms in the Israeli market. For each payment, a bank guarantee is issued for the net amount of the payment, excluding the VAT component. Okay, in Israel, prices are subject to 18% VAT. The VAT portion is backed by a government fund. So if the project fails or the developer becomes insolvent, the bank is legally responsible for the funds that you paid. In most cases, the bank will step into the developer's shoes and will complete the project. Okay, the same legal framework applies if the building is damaged during a construction due to war, missiles, earthquake, or any other force majeure event. Okay, so you have a very strong financing bank who's responsible for every payment that you make. Regarding mortgages for foreign residents, so financing is indeed possible, but you need to know the specifics here. So foreign residents can generally obtain mortgages up to 50% loan to value. As part of the mortgage process, the borrower needs to arrange, among other papers and certificates, a property insurance and life insurance. The mortgages terms vary by bank and borrower profile, so early planning is the key. We will go into more details regarding mortgages, structures, and numbers when we review the specific example in the next section. Payment schedule and developers flexibility. So the timing of the payments can be just as important as the price itself. Okay, the payment schedules vary significantly between projects. Developers often offer flexible payment plans, okay, phased payments or promotional structures, such as 20% paying 20% at the contract signing and then 80% upon delivery. These kinds of arrangements are designed to ease the cash flow and mitigate buyers' concerns regarding the high interest rate that is still dominating the market. So when you decide to buy a new apartment from a developer, a key factor is how the payments are spread, and this is something that you can understand and inquire at the very early beginning. Okay. Having said that, the role of your legal counsel, so legal presentation goes far beyond reviewing the paperwork. Your lawyers need to incorporate into negotiation both the legal and the commercial terms of the contract. Okay, it is not only possible but strongly recommended to negotiate the technical specification of the apartment as part of the ongoing negotiation of the deal. Very often, we can create value not just by negotiating the price, but by improving the specs, the upgrades, and delivery time. Okay, so this is in general some key things that we thought that would be worthwhile mentioning. Okay, now we go into a full breakdown of a sample of transaction. Okay, I'd like to make everything that we discussed so far very practical. So at this point, we're going to walk through a realistic example of an actual transaction, okay, where the goal is to show you how the numbers come together in practice, not just in theory. What we chose is a typical transaction for foreign buyers purchasing from a developer in Israel. Okay, so let's dive into the case study. So this is a project in Sea Park, Netanya, very desired location for foreign buyers, Netanya in general, and the Sea Park in particular. We are looking at what we call, again, a 5-room apartment, a standard 5-room apartment, which costs around 3,600,000 shekels, which in about 1.1 million US dollar. Okay, now let's break down step by step from the very beginning through the contract signing and all the way to receiving and holding the property. Okay, I want to walk you through the services that are involved, their costs, and just as important, the timing of each payment. Okay, I want also to mention that again the prices are subject to 18% VAT, but the figures that you will see, we are already incorporated the VAT component inside. Okay, so what you see is including VAT. Okay, so let's start. So we are at the phase one, what we call phase one, at the starting point. And we start with a personal consultation meeting, okay, which basically everything starts here. The cost for this consultation meeting is free, but the value is huge. The purpose is understanding your goals, your budget, the structure that is right for you, and basically all of your personal circumstances. The idea is to identify your objective and then tailor the process to your needs, okay? And no financial commitment at this stage. This is, we give free, very valuable information without strings attached. So we highly recommend, even if you're just considering to schedule such a meeting with us so we can discuss and be more specific regarding what you need. Okay, but generally, this is how it goes. So we start with mortgage consultant, okay, financing. If you need financing, which most of our clients usually use. So financing needs to be planned early. The mortgage consultant plays a key role throughout the entire financing process, not just at the approval stage. Okay, the service includes explaining the mortgage process in clear terms, building an optimal mortgage mix, okay, tailored to your profile and goals. We'll have a good example later. Negotiating and shopping between banks to secure the best available terms, and coordinating all required documentation for final mortgage approval and funding. Okay, so this usually costs around this service 10,000 shekel, somewhere around 3,000 US dollar. And you usually pay a small deposit at the engagement, and then the balance upon the mortgage approval itself. Okay, our mortgage consultants specialize in structuring mortgage solutions that are tailored specifically for non-resident buyers. Okay, then we go to the property search. Once you understand how you can finance the deal, you will start to looking for a specific property. Now, brokerage services in Israel are priced 2% of the transaction value, again, plus VAT. But I think it measures around the value of the broker itself, and I will explain. A professional broker, his role goes far beyond just locating a property. Okay, a good broker helps you define and refine the right property for you based on your personal goals, your investment strategy, your budget, your long-term planning. In addition, the broker needs to play a key role in the negotiation. So very often, an experienced broker is able to offset or even exceed their fee by securing better pricing, improved commercial terms, or meaningful concessions from the seller or from the developer, and acting as a professional buffer, I would say, and strategic negotiator on your behalf. So in this case, when we're buying a property of 3.6 million, the cost of the broker would be somewhere around 85,000 shekels, $25, 25,000, almost 26,000 US dollars. The payment timing is only when the contract is signing, meaning you pay only when the transaction is actually executed. Then international taxation consultancy. So it is important to clarify. Tax consultation is not always required. Okay, in many straightforward cases, purchase tax obligations are clear and easily determined. However, in more complex situations, such as transactions that are involving inheritance planning, more sophisticated ownership structures, or purchases that are made through a company or any other vessel, that needs a broader tax analysis, there you need a tax advice. Okay, in these cases, it is essential to work with a tax advisor who has specific expertise in international taxation. Okay, so when appropriate, early tax planning helps prevent unexpected exposure and of course, unpleasant surprises later in the process. Basically, in a real estate transaction, the last thing that we want is to be surprised. Okay, so the cost of international tax advisor is usually around 10,000 shekel, around, according to today's dollar rate, around $3,000. And the payment timing here, it varies, okay, depending on the specific circumstances and the nature of the engagement. Plan specification. So why this stage is important? This review of the plans and specifications is intentionally conducted prior to the signing of the sale agreement. Okay, so beyond allowing you to better plan the property that you are purchasing and decide whether upgrades or changes are worthwhile for you, it also plays a key role in maximizing the commercial negotiation with the developer. Okay, very often this process enables us to secure improvements to the technical specification, achieve additional upgrades or enhance delivery terms, and creating value that goes beyond a headline price alone. Okay, so usually the cost of such a service is around $800 US. You pay at the engagement and includes the review of plans, the layout, the technical specification before you commit by signing the contract. Legal fee. So legal fee representation is central to the entire process. Okay, the attorney is the primary anchor in the execution of the transaction. The role is to act exclusively in your best interest, ensuring that all necessary legal protections are in place and work to maximize both the legal and the commercial results of the deal. Beyond the contract drafting, the attorney serves as central coordinator and integrator, I would say, between all parties that are involved in the deal. Okay, if the developer, the bank, the mortgage consultant, the broker, the tax advisor, all of them needs to be aligned into the contract itself. Okay, and also you need to work with the relevant authorities. So ultimately, the attorney is responsible to guide you through the process step by step, to provide clarity and certainty, and to lead you safely through the transaction from start to finish. So if you look at the numbers here, the complete process is priced as about 12,000 and almost $900. Their payment here is also upon the contract signing. Okay, so this is regarding the first part where we start until we sign the contract. Now we move on to the next part. Okay, the purchase tax. One second. Okay, so we're talking about what happened after we signed the contract. Okay, so basically we have a purchase tax to pay within 60 days. Okay, so this applies to buyers whether they are purchasing as investors or for Aliyah. But for a foreign resident that are purchasing an apartment in Israel, the purchase tax is generally 8% of the purchase price, okay, which is totals into a very meaningful sum usually. Okay, so this rate may differ in alternative transaction structures, such as cases where the buyer first acquires land rights and only later constructs, which is usually related to detached houses more than apartments in building. However, as a general rule, I would say a foreign resident needs to take under consideration that if he's not planning to make Aliyah, when purchasing a residential apartment, including an apartment that was bought from a developer at the pre-construction stage, he would be subject to 8% purchase tax. Okay, in our example, it totals almost to 300,000 shekels, 87,000 US dollars, and it needs to be paid within 60 days from the day we sign the contract. Okay. Alternatively, if you are making Aliyah and you are eligible for getting a new Ole status, okay? So for those of you who actually planning to making Aliyah in the next few years, okay? This is a very significant benefit. If you purchase an apartment up to 1 year before you make Aliyah, or up to 7 years after, 7 years, you may be eligible for a reduced purchase tax rate of only 0.5%. Okay, we're talking about a huge difference. This benefit can result like dramatically lower purchase tax. In our example, we're talking about 8,000 shekel, 2,400 US dollar in comparison to almost 300,000 shekel and 87,000 US dollars. So as we see, it's a huge gap. This also needs to be paid within 60 days. And this is a result of a government policy that wants to incentive new Olim and not foreign investors. Okay. We move on to mortgage-related payments. So if we had the mortgage consultant at the first stage, now we're in a phase where we already signed the contract and we are actually paying for the apartment, and then the mortgage takes place. So these are technicals, but unavoidable costs that you should know also. So when you will go to the bank to finalize the mortgage process, so they will charge money for the file opening, there would be a property appraisal that will cost money, some notarial authentications, everything sums up to about 6,000 shekel, $1,800, and you pay it when you're opening the mortgage file. Okay, then we move on to the inspection. What we mean inspection is just before you get the new apartment, an engineer on your behalf will come and conduct full inspection for the apartment that you are about to receive. And it basically protects you just before the delivery. Okay, so the cost is about 2,000 shekels, about 600 US dollars, and you pay it when the guy comes. and it ensures that the apartment is delivered according to the plans and specifications, and it allows early identification of construction defects, if there are any, before the handover of the apartment. Okay, so the cost effective of this cost is very high. It is very recommend. We recommend highly. Okay, conducting these inspection tests. We also make sure that in the contract you will be eligible to do so. Additional payments that are required under the sale agreement usually include some registration fees and utility meter connections. Again, they usually sum to about 5,000 shekels, about $1,100, and you pay them at the apartment delivery. Okay, so this is it regarding this phase of the post-contract until the apartment delivery. Now let's take a look at an example for a mortgage structure, okay, and the monthly payment it will create, okay? So we're talking again about a transaction of 3.6 million. As we said, the LTV, the loan to value for non-residents in Israel is 50%. So we take under consideration, for example, of course, that the mortgage amount is the full 1.8 million, okay? So the composition in Israel, mortgages are usually built from several components. And this is just an example to illustrate a possible structure, okay? But the details here are very much correct. So we're looking at a structure where 50% is a component under fixed rate, okay? Let's say for 16 years. And an example of relevant interest for such a component, let's say, is about 5.2%. Then we're talking another component of 30%. When we're talking about 50%, 30%, it's from the total amount of the mortgage. Okay, so 30% will be prime linked. Okay, prime actually in our example, it's prime minus 0.4, and it will be taken for 30 years. Just to make it clear, prime, when we say prime, prime is Israel benchmark for interest rate, okay? It's directly influenced by the Central Bank of Israel, okay? So as of today, the Bank of Israel base rate is 4.25%. So the prime rate is 5.75. We take the base rate and you add another 1.5%. So this is what we mean, a 30% prime link. It's linked to this to the central bank interest rate. So the example we have here is 5.35. Okay, if we take prime and minus 0.4, we get to 5.35, and then another 20% is adjustable every 5 years. It's inflation linked, and we take it for 20 years. And the interest rate here is 4.2%. Okay, so this illustrates an example of a pretty good mortgage structure, okay, with the interest rate and the term of in years. And when you, for such a mortgage for 1.8 million, the estimated monthly return will be around 10,600 shekels, okay? Of course, this estimates reflects the current interest levels and the typical bank terms for non-residents. We know that we are expecting the rate to be reduced, okay? The interest rate to be reduced. So this is current for today. And of course, actual terms may vary based on borrower profile and the market conditions. Let's move on. So when we're talking about ongoing monthly expenses, other than the mortgage that we just talked about, so there are a couple of more ongoing expenses that you need to take under consideration. Okay, so let's start with what we call arnona, which is a municipal tax. Again, we are treating the same 5-room apartment that we bought in 3.6 million in Netanya in Sea Park. Okay, so for that kind of an apartment, you will pay probably somewhere around 800 shekels monthly, about 240 US dollars, to the municipal tax as a municipal tax. Then you have the building maintenance, the building management, what we call Dvat Bait, which for such an apartment in such a place will be an additional 272 US dollars. We need to take under consideration that these, if you're renting your apartment out and you have a tenant, so these expenses are typically paid by the tenant. Then you need to add for that the life insurance for the mortgage, which is another 100 shekels. And if you are going to have an asset management company, someone who will manage the asset on your behalf, so you should take under consideration about another 272 in US dollars per month. Okay. From the other side, if we're looking about income and projected yields, okay, so an apartment like this in today's market can easily be rent out for 9,000 shekels, which is about $2,700, which will generate an estimated ongoing yield of approximately 3% annually. And it's a bit, skeptic to say it these days in our circumstances, but if we look back at the track record of the last 50 years, so we can definitely count on estimated capital appreciation of approximately somewhere between 3 to 5% annually, based on long-term market trends. Okay, so this pretty much concludes our analysis of this transaction. Okay, we will, of course, be happy to answer any questions at the end of the session. If we look at key takeaways, okay, that we can summarize what we just said. So, buying property in Israel from abroad is fully possible and secure. The Israeli law provides strong buyer protections, the sale law, the bank guarantee, everything that we just talked about. Non-residents can access financing usually up to 50% loan to value. Understanding the full cost and the cash flow is critical. We talked about the payments that must be made only through the official payment booklet. We talked about the value of structuring the deal, and that on the fact that success depends on working with a structured end-to-end partner. And when referring to that, so Mishkan Israel, at Mishkan Israel, we guide you through the entire Israeli real estate journey, from the first conversation to long after you receive the keys. For clients living abroad, this integrated approach is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Okay, so we help define your goals, your budget, your strategy, and identify vetted opportunities that truly fit your needs. You are represented by an Israeli law firm that has deep experience in transactions for foreign residents. We structure financing solutions for non-residents and coordinate international tax considerations. From delivery inspections to asset management, we have a team on the ground that will manage the asset for you if you want. And of course, we have our beloved Belong here that will help you with your community integration. Okay, what we specialize, especially in this segment, is the organization of group of buyers that will buy together and will enjoy the group buying power. So if you have any interest of buying real estate in Israel, please don't hesitate. Schedule a private consultation with us to discuss. It is free of charge and with no strings attached. So if you have any plans, please let us help you. We are very passionate about it. So thank you very much. Now, if we have some questions, we would be more than happy to answer. Let's give it a minute.
While you're writing your questions, I just want to note also that, feel free to contact Belong for any question you may have. We also provide a free consultation, and our website has all our connection methods of how to reach us. Really, feel free to ask. We want you with us in Israel.
Okay, there are some, I would say, private questions that we will take separately. We will not hold you here. We want to thank you very much for your time today, for joining us. Thank you, Elon. Thank you, Belong team. It was a great pleasure. Happy Hanukkah, and may we all have only blessed times.
Happy
Thank you very
Hanukkah.
much.
Bye.
Bye bye.